This is Rashawn Slater, first-round draft pick for the LA Chargers, and you're listening to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. Bolt up.
Good day and welcome to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. I'm your host, John Woods Jr., and today I'm joined by John Ayres. Bez can't be with us tonight. He's under the weather somewhat. He can't talk, so I'm sure his wife and family will be quite pleased with that. Dan King will be joining us shortly. He's got a few technical issues. So for now, it's John and myself. We are entering week 11. We should have a relatively decent matchup against the Steelers, but lo and behold, the pandemic struck the Chargers locker room, and we're entering the game at the SoFi without a couple of our key players. John, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well. Just trying to get through the week. It's been a long week after that kind of disappointing loss on Sunday. So just trying to motivate myself, get myself excited for the week. But all these, player injury stuff, all this COVID stuff, all this other stuff is making it hard to get too excited for the upcoming game.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I was super upbeat about the fact that we're playing the Steelers. The fact that their offensive line is not great. Big Ben's been playing poorly, but he's on the COVID reserve list. He may get the go-ahead to play on Sunday. If not, I think Mike Tomlin is going to start Mason Rudolph. We'll talk about the Steelers after the break. But, it's just – I don't know. This season just seems like an absolute roll of the dice for all 32 teams. There's an article on Football Outsiders, and it goes along the lines of, is there any good football teams out there in 2021? And I think whoever wins the Super Bowl next, come February, are going to look back and go, yeah, we got away with one there. And there'll be teams thinking, why on earth didn't we take the opportunity when we had the chance? Because look, we're starting to see teams slow down now. We've seen the Cardinals have a couple of bumps in the road. Chiefs have been up and down. They had a great win last weekend, but you wouldn't have expected them to be in the position that they're in going into week 11. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. No one could have predicted what's coming. I mean, John, let's start with the Bolts. And here's Mr. King. Let's get him on. Here he is. Here he is with a burgundy hair. How's it going, Dan?
No idea what happened there, but
technical trouble, hey?
Yeah, of course.
Anything Chargers related, mate, is an issue this season. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. You both well?
Yeah, good, all good. We're just waxing lyrical about the fact that this season's crazy, and we're getting super excited about Sunday's matchup, and obviously now we can't we can, but
we can still be excited.
Yeah, I just said to John,
it's not the matchup we want.
No, it's not. I just said to John before we came on air, have you had your call-up papers yet to go and play for the Bolts on Sunday, because they're so depleted?
Dan, I'm available at kicker.
Just brief. There you go. He's dropped out again. John, let's talk about the Chargers. What do we do without Bosa, Tillery, Tranquil?
I mean, I'm hoping that we get most of them back. I don't know. I mean, again, it's protocols for close contacts are about 5 days away from the team, so that puts some of them available to return by the end of those 5 days, but we'll see. Again, they have to keep testing negative. None of them can test positive, so it's kind of a guessing game, but I think we'll know more this weekend. So I'm not trying to make any decisions right now. It's only Thursday. It's a Sunday night game, so got plenty of time for them to get back in. I don't think there's much Bosa needs to do at practice this week, to be perfectly honest. I think he's fine. Tillery's Tillery, so either he'll be there or he won't be. I don't know. I'm probably not going to be too bent out of shape if Tillery doesn't make it. He's not exactly. He makes one or two plays a game that make you think, oh yeah, this guy's maybe he's figuring it out. And then he makes a bunch of plays, or at least doesn't make a bunch of plays, where he gets basically pushed off the screen. You're like, where the hell did he go? Is he? I thought I saw him lined up before the snap, and you find out, oh, somebody's fucking pancaked him 10 yards down down his past the line of scrimmage or whatever. So I don't know. I'm not going to be too upset if Tillery doesn't make it, but being without Bosa would be a big deal. I mean, they're already coming into this game in trouble because they're going to be facing a team who wants to just power run the ball, and that is something that they're not that not very good at stopping. So if they have to overcommit to the run, and then that means that now they don't have any kind of a pass rush without Joey Bosa too. It's going to make it a long day for that defense. So, we'll see how it is. Steelers always have a solid defense with talent, but I actually was talking with somebody on Twitter about this. Is basically the Vikings are actually a much higher rated defense than the Steelers this year. The Steelers are kind of, they're above average for sure, but they're not like elite like they have been in the past. So, I'm hoping maybe there's a little bit more breathing room for our offense to kind of get their stuff done, and hopefully, we can pull this one out, and get back to their winning ways.
Yeah, Dan, thoughts on the COVID reserve list at the minute? We've got Covington, Bosa, Tillery, Tranquil.
It's unfortunate. Unfortunate that these things have been allowed to happen. But it's apart from Drew Tranquil and Joey Bosa, I don't know that it's the worst. I'm also concerned by the just general injury report as well.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at the injury report yesterday, was it? Yeah, yesterday's injury report. I haven't seen anything for today, but you've got then still Linval Joseph still did not practice.
Keenan Allen was out with his knee, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah, both of them. Keenan was full on Wednesday, but Nasir Adderley was limited. Michael Davis was still limited. Alohi Gilman, not the biggest loss, but we need the depth at the moment with the COVID list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alohi Gilman didn't practice. Justin Jones was a full participant, but there's no guarantee that these things are going to trend upwards and give us actual availability on Sunday. So I think we've got a fair few injuries coupled with the COVID situation that we appear to have gotten into. I don't think it makes for good reading, but the most important player is still there. So Justin Herbert is still going to be on the field, and Derwin James is still there. So
yeah, agreed. And that's one of the positives that I took away from our defeat on Sunday. I mean, a question for you, John. Social media, I'm starting to see one or two tweets now, and it's only the minority. I'm not getting too carried away about calling for people's heads, saying that Lombardi is not fit to run the offense. I think it's I think that's unfair. I think it's uncalled for. You've spoken about the fact that we've got to be patient with this team. We all got carried away at the beginning. Yeah, it was great. We elevated our expectations, but there's absolutely no way at this stage in the season that people should be getting fired, is there?
I don't think so. Obviously there were moments where I was enraged, which were in situations where I thought the play calling was just, too conservative. I get Lombardi's trying to protect the quarterback given our poor pass blocking situation on the right side of the line. And, I get that they want to keep the run game as a threat. So they will continue to hand the ball off to let teams know, hey, look, we're not completely abandoning the run. And I get that. And that I'm not arguing against those two ideas. But I just don't think the execution, as far as when they're calling which plays, I don't believe it's the right way to go. I think they're going too conservative. And I think that they're calling runs, at times thinking, hey, we're going to catch them off guard because, we're not very good at running the ball. So we're going to run it here, and then they're not going to expect it. And then, hey, guess what? They run it and they're not very good at running it. So yeah, there's self-fulfilling prophecy, but I've called for a quote unquote Lombardi out, which again, if you're an Arsenal fan, you know all about saying coach out, but that's another story. Anyway, so yeah, in a few fits of rage, I've been upset, but I don't really think he needs to be fired. But I really wanted to increase the skepticism and increase the pressure externally that may be out there for Lombardi. I mean, just giving him a pass and saying, oh, well, everything's going to be fine and making excuses for him, that's not helpful, right? He needs to be put under pressure. He needs to get called out. And I know as fans, we have no say, but I think if there's enough of an upswell, it can't be ignored, right? If there's enough people saying, hey, I think Lombardi's the problem, it can't be ignored. And maybe it'll push him to try different things or to try to be more aggressive and improve a few things, right? So again, I don't think he should be fired, but I do think that he should come under criticism because I think that some of the problems are his fault. I do believe that. I really do believe that. All of them are not his fault, but I do believe a good portion of them are.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, John. I mean, Dan, the LA Times wrote an article in the week saying, are the Rams and Chargers getting out coached? It's a difficult thing to put your finger on because coaching is one thing and executing on the field is another. I mean, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Are we doing enough? Is Ronaldo, Hill, and Staley doing enough? Bearing in mind we've got issues. We haven't got the talent at the minute that we thought we had.
I find it hard to say that they're doing enough. Just the complete apparent lack of addressing of the run game is just baffling. Like, I don't know what they do though, so I don't have the tactical nous to know, like, hey, yeah, this is what we do to address the awful run defense. So they're doing okay, but it's not enough for what I want. And I think the same is true with what John was saying with the offense. Like, there's some nice moments occasionally, but too often we're going for that run on first down that we've all hated under previous coaches and all slated under previous coaches. And like I think back to, what was it? Norv, every first down was like run it LT up the middle.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was a like generational talent. That works. Eckler's good, but he's not getting 5-6 yards every first down.
No, and they're using him a lot in the passing game as well, which you
Exactly.
see, you start to see a lot more now with.
But at least
with
he
the
can
modern running
catch
back.
for the
Yes.
most part, compared to someone like Jalen Guyton, who I think has caught less than 50% of his targets. It's somewhere in that kind of area.
And this is the thing: how many times in sports do we see the players staying within their contract and the coach gets sacked? See it all the time in soccer, all the time. And actually, the players aren't putting a shift in, and they're causing the problem. Now, I'm not saying that's the case for the Chargers, but they've got to take some responsibility as well. Dan, it's a great point about the drop catches. We spoke how many times about the missed tackles. I don't get that. Special teams are special teams who've been historically bad at missing the extra points and field goals, punt returning. Our gunners are not great, but the players have to take some responsibility. I mean, John, have you heard anything among the pressers that would suggest that the players are spending a bit more time with each other, discussing in a one-to-one scenario how they can make improvements, or are they, in your opinion, are they just sitting back, waiting for the coaches to make decisions, debrief them, and prepare them, etc.?
I'm not really seeing a lot of these kind of quote unquote player only meetings. I think generally when it comes to player only meetings, those are generally only happening when there's a real like emergency situation. And I think that would be an overreaction at this point. We're not in any emergency territory. Last I checked, we're not last place, so we don't have a losing record. We're well within striking distance of the division. I mean, in fact, yes, we have 5 wins and Kansas City has 6. They've also played an extra game, right? So if we continue at the same pace and then when they go on by, we win, we would then be tied with them for first place in the division. And guess what? We currently own a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like doom and gloom, guys. Like I know it's depressing and I know it sucks that we dropped a game to the Vikings that I think we all believe we probably could have won. But it's not a desperate situation. So I don't think, I'm sure players are constantly working with each other and talking to each other, off to the side and doing kind of things to help them improve. That's just normal kind of every day for a pro. So I don't expect to see too many stories of guys like, staying in after practice for 3 hours doing extra drills. I don't expect to see too many of those. I'm sure there are players like that, but that doesn't always report it. Additionally, a lot of those extra drills are done behind the scenes and we can't see and reporters can't really see because it's after the public part of practice. So it's hard to know if that's actually happening or not. So I'm not going to say, oh, the players aren't doing the extra bit to get better. I think they are. I don't think there's any player. I mean, not any player. I'm sure there are some who are just trying to collect a paycheck, but I think the majority of the players on this team really do care about winning and care about each other. And I think they're all doing what they think is the best course to win, right? And yeah, it is on the coaching staff to lead them, but I think personally they need to also kind of get themselves right and get themselves better. The drop passes, the poor execution. I don't think anybody's sitting there going, well, I don't care that I've dropped more passes than I have in the last 2 seasons combined. That's fine. It is what I don't think Keenan Allen or Michael Williams or anyone saying that. I think they all want to be better. I ride Guyton all the time because I think Guyton has horrible hands and I don't think he can be relied upon in pressure situations, which I think is proven out again this year. But I don't think he's sitting there going, my hands are fine. I think he is trying to make them better. I'm sure he is doing whatever he can to make them better. It's just, yes, practice helps make people better, but eventually there is a ceiling, right? There's a point to where practice isn't going to make it any better. You just got to go out and execute. And sometimes you just can't execute. Maybe he has small hands. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I've written about the fact that I think we'll finish 10-7. And I think we'll end the season 5-4. It's a sprint to the finish now. So we'll go on a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk Chargers Steelers.
Hey, Charged Up Bolts listeners, thanks for tuning in. Do you know what really sucks? Us Brits don't really get Thanksgiving. It's not a thing here. You guys get amazing NFL games, you get the family round, you get the turkey, some weird sides, but we'll let you have that. But we don't get to celebrate it. It's not the same. But there is one little secret that I've been let in on that makes things better, and that's thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook, or DraftKings if you want to be a bit American. They're allowing new customers to bet just $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. It's amazing. You can play for free for millions. Now, here's the secret on how to do it. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code TPPN. Bet just $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a single point. That's promo code TPPN this Thanksgiving at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Well, must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, Pennsylvania only, new customers only, and restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's my secret to you. Now back to the show.
Mr. Bermudez, currently under the weather, nursing a terrible winter cold. It's about -3 here in the UK at the minute, or it feels like that way.
I think it's karma for him trying to talk crap about our Thanksgiving sides. We have delicious sides. Okay, I'm sorry, it's not some pie made of like a kidney or whatever the hell you guys got over there.
I don't do kidney. No.
I don't know. I've been to the UK, and no offense, your food is shite. It is absolute shite. Like I was like, all right, well,
fish and chips, man. Come on, John.
I mean, I guess. I mean, if your best dish is something that's basically a fast food lunch item, I have questions, right? I mean, it was good. Right? The best food that I had in London, which again, there was definitely good places to eat, but none of them were quote unquote English restaurants. They were all either Chinese or Indian or something. I mean, you guys got some good
own places.
You've got some good international food, but as far as local cuisine, I don't really know any good local cuisine.
Let me tell you a little story. We were on vacation in Mexico with our friends from up in New York State, big Buffalo fans. And Maria, Don's wife, she turned around and said, if I come and visit you guys in England, I'm going to starve. I was like, what? No, you won't. Trust me. Anyway, let's get back to football. Steelers. Dan, over to you. Okay, so Big Ben is on the COVID-19 reserve list. He may get the go-ahead to play on Sunday. You're the Chargers head coach. Who do you want to face Mason Rudolph or Big Ben? Give us your reasons why.
I'd want to face Mason Rudolph because I don't have any faith that he's a capable, continuous, like starting quarterback. He's not shown anything really to kind of light up the world in any of his performances in the previous, couple of seasons, and he was okay-ish the last week or so. I think I'd much rather be facing him and throwing Derwin James at him as fast as possible on every play, just to see what happens. I mean, the Steelers will also be missing a couple of receivers as well, right?
Yeah, Chase Claypool's a potential doubt, questionable.
So yeah, don't cover the receivers. Get 10 men stopping the run and Derwin James just going for Mason Rudolph every play. What you got to lose?
I reckon
it may not be the best tactics. I can accept that.
I reckon,
but I want to see it.
I reckon John will go for a different route. John,
to be honest, I don't know how much worse of a quarterback Mason Rudolph is than Ben Roethlisberger at this point. I mean, I've seen Ben Roethlisberger. I'm pretty sure I have a better deep ball than Ben Roethlisberger at this point. I mean, his arm looks so washed up. It's bad. And honestly, he's not mobile at all anymore. All he wants to do is these quick little check down passes or give it to Najee. So I think Mason Rudolph at least has a threat of throwing it deep. And I think Mason Rudolph at least has a threat of getting mobile. And to be honest, the way that the Chargers defense has had a lack of ability to handle any kind of mobility of a quarterback, including Mac Vick the other week against the Patriots, I would rather see Ben Roethlisberger down there. He's just not a good quarterback anymore. He really isn't. He is below average right now. I mean, he's not as bad as some of these backups in the league. I mean, I've seen some pretty bad quarterback play this year by some backups, but I mean, he's just not scary. And to be honest, I think the fact that he's not going to be running on you, and that that he really doesn't have that deep ball, especially unfortunately, this is in Pittsburgh, where I think the wind could play a factor, because that's obviously not good for him, any kind of wind. But I honestly, I don't fear Ben Roethlisberger anymore. And I would actually fear the unknownness of Mason Rudolph than I would of Ben Roethlisberger. So I actually kind of would prefer Ben this weekend, but honestly, neither of those quarterbacks scare me. And to me, it's more about Najee Harris. Do we have an answer for Najee Harris? That's my big question mark.
Well, I'll come on to Najee in a minute, but going back to Big Ben, he's about as well. He makes Phillip Rivers look the most mobile quarterback in the league. Big Ben of 2020 and 2021 is not good. He's playing with concrete cleats, quite frankly. Mason Rudolph, to your point, Dan, he hasn't really shown anything. But, the fact that he rushed for 36 yards last weekend, that's 36 yards that the Chargers don't need to contend with on the ground. So there's a bit of to and fro in, but I'm kind of leading with John because Ben has been really poor. I think this is going to be his last season in the NFL. Look, he's been a great servant of the game. He's been fun to watch in his prime, but I think time's finally catching up on him.
When was the last time he played a full season? Has Ben Roethlisberger played a full season in recent history?
I want to say 2018. I'll have to check.
Could be.
I mean, the Steelers, we don't really know what we're getting. They've had some great results. They beat the Bills in week 1. They've knocked off the Broncos. And then the last 4 games have been really strange. 3-point win over the Seahawks, 15-10 win over the Browns, 29-27 win over the Bears, and then that's ugly, awful tie with the Lions 16-16 last weekend. Having said all that, we're going to come on to Najee Harris. I love this guy in college football last year. I've often said on this podcast, I don't get excited about draft picks because more often than not that they flop, they fall, they don't perform. It was quite obvious Najee Harris is going to be a stud. And if you're not drafting him in DFS this weekend, go and shake your head. Have a chat with yourself because that dude is going to put up some serious numbers against the Chargers' run defense. John, thoughts on the Steelers?
Like I said, I think The defense doesn't scare me as much as I think that it has in years past. They're not an easy defense by any means. It's not like we're going to go and cakewalk them for 40 points. Not going to happen. But I just don't think that they are the same defense that they were. With TJ Watt's injury, I think that helps our offensive line. One less pass rusher they have to deal with, which I think is good. So I think our offense it has an opportunity to put up a good showing here against them. And then our defense, again, a lot of question marks. Today they reported that Michael Davis and Nasir Adderley are trending in a positive direction. So that's good. Again, doesn't mean that they're going to play, but if they were to come back, I think that would be a major boon to our offense, our defense. But again, doesn't help our run defense, right? I mean, I like Brendan Fehoko. He seems like a good dude. Seems like a positive guy. I am 100% rooting for him. But the fact that he may have to take a lot of meaningful reps on the interior defensive line this week
hurt, man. It's going to hurt.
Not feel like it's going to go well.
That's going to hurt. I mean, look, the Steelers. We talk about Big Ben and Mason Rudolph. Playing in front of them, Dan Moore, left tackle. He's been pretty awful. As bad as Storm Norton. He's given up 25 pressures this season. On the other side of the offensive line, I cannot pronounce this dude's name. Chukwuma Okarafor. Well, fumbled that one. He's given up 10 pressures. Their offensive line's not playing great, and this is why I'm more disappointed that Joey Bosa might not play. The Steelers are there for the taking. That they've been up and down. Dan, the factor for me could be the wily old coach of Mike Tomlin. All right, we've briefly mentioned the Chargers getting out coached. We sort of put a lid on that and said no, actually, the coaching might not be the worst thing. It's the actual execution. Mike Tomlin, is he going to get one over on Brandon Staley on Sunday?
I think he's got every possibility of doing so. Obviously, we don't want to see it, but I think he doesn't have to coach very hard to get their offense moving, at least. Najee Harris is the second most rushing attempts in the league, and we cannot stop the run.
Scares me, that does.
Yeah. So regardless of how well he does, he has a lot of touches, and he's just going to run through us and tire out these players who aren't used to even taking the reps. So I don't. I could see this game either being very low scoring because of just ineptitude, or very high scoring because of ineptitude. And I think the coaching isn't necessarily going to play into it as much as it would were all the players available. I think it's going to be more a case of who's healthiest for the longest, and who can outlast the other.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about endurance of our defense on Sunday. They were getting gassed. Linval Joseph, he sort of spoke and said it's almost like conditioning, but you don't want to be in that position. We've got to give the offense have got to give the defense a break. We need to go on some sustained drives on Sunday. That's what we need to do by hook or crook, whether it's short dump off passes, whether it's short yard gains on the ground through Eckler, Larry Roundtree. That's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we're not giving away silly penalties. It happens all the time. It's so easy these days in the modern NFL game to get to draw a penalty, and we need to get away from this. I just don't feel that if we don't get any offensive rhythm, the defense are going to be put under even more pressure. Najee Harris is going to get the ball in his hands, and then things are going to start going south, because what you'll end up then is the offense are trying to force the game, almost like panicking, and then you're going to get even more mistakes.
At least with Bosa not being there, that's one fewer offsides or false starts or encroachment or.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone has been sort of stand out week by week. Rashawn Slater maybe on the offensive line. Derwin James has been one of the top three defensive players week in, week out, but there aren't too many players that have got a sustainable account for themselves, for want of a better word. Would you agree with any of that, John?
Yeah, I'd agree with some of that. I mean, I think it's hard to it's hard to say, kind of make a lot of decisions right now. I think to be honest, it's hard to really see where this team is at. I think there's been a lot of inconsistent play. So for me, it's really hard for me to kind of put too many judgments. I think I think the few people who have produced at a consistent level have just been the ones who've been doing it really bad, right? Trade Kipians, that kind of stuff. So I think we've got
your buddy.
yeah, I think we've got up and down talent. I mean, Derwin James is obviously one of the few consistently good players, right? I mean, there's no stopping Derwin James, but I mean, there's a lot of inconsistent play, so it's hard for me to really gauge, all the players along the line and what kind of impact missing Bosa would be, because but I think ultimately without Bosa, this whole defensive line is, is really not great. So I think he's a big factor, and I think everybody else on that defensive line is just going to have to step up, and maybe they will. Sometimes put under pressure if Bosa doesn't play, maybe they will step up. Who knows?
Well, we'll find out on Sunday, won't we? Prediction time before we wrap up. Come on, Dan, give us your prediction.
One last thing before predictions. Had you seen the newest Raiders signing? Tyron Johnson. T. Billy.
Oh boy.
That's yet another former Chargers player heading to Las Vegas.
Clutching at straws.
But prediction. I am going to say we win. I just have more faith. The most faith I have in any unit is our offense and Justin Herbert. So assuming we get a couple of sustained drives or just some big, fast, like 60-yard pass, something deep would be nice. And I think it'll be both teams in the 20s, but it'll be a close game because we don't play non-close games. So that being said, 27, 22 Chargers
22.
win. Yeah, it can happen. Every number's possible, right? Apart from one.
John?
Yeah, so I'm going to go maybe a little bit more traditional in my scoring. But I agree, though. I don't think it's going to be a super high scoring game, but I also don't believe either defense is going to really lock the other one down. I do like the Chargers to win this game. I really do. I think this is a beatable team, and I think they can win it. And I think there is some pressure on them. And I think they're coming out to perform and prove that they're still, a force in the AFC West division. So I have them coming out and taking a victory 24-20. So yeah, close one. But I think they sneak it out 24-20.
So you got 24-20. I'm going along similar lines. Okay. I just think the Steelers are there for the taking. I have got us down for 4 more losses this season, listeners. I've got the Chargers winning 20-16. Just going on the fact that we're not playing great on offense at the minute. The Steelers have been competitive in sort of really close games. So that's my take. Bez hasn't submitted his. He's probably still with a Lemsip. Tucked to the hot water bottle in bed. So
he's probably picking the Steelers, that jerk.
He's probably eating his hat right now, going, "You're all wrong. You're all wrong."
Yeah,
guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 59 of the Charged Up Bolts. You know where to find us on social media: charged_up_bolts, Charged Up Pod. Find us on Facebook, like, subscribe, get involved with us, say hello. Have a look at the blog on chargedupbolts.com. No DFS this weekend. Where can we find you on the socials, Dan?
You can find me at UKLA Chargers, and I just want to say thanks to Snowy for your comment earlier.
Snowy's our regular season ticket holder. Good man, Michael. John, any tips from the gnome this weekend?
Nope, he's gone silent. I actually don't know where he's at. He's not behind me today. So.
Well, last time I saw him was the tailgate.
Yeah, I think he might be still recovering from the tailgate. He partied pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of chorizo, maybe too much. But yeah, you can find me at Adroit Airs, #Audible Chocolate. And of course you can follow Nomeo Grace for his adventures in Charger Land.
Well, you'll catch us next week, Tuesday. We will recap the Steelers. Hopefully, we'll talk about a win and not another disappointing defeat. I'll be joining the Charger Chat podcast on Monday. see what they've got in store for us. But thanks again for listening all, and we'll see you next week. Bolts up.